We're back with the Best of Bleav Network Hour on Stadium. Do you believe?
We are back once again. Charity stripe, free throws, hit them. Josh, Alex, Nick, Best of Bleav on Stadium. It's a face swap, face off. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. Yeah?
Face off. Yeah.
Face off. Yeah, is the movie. Have you seen that?
Shout out Nicolas Cage coming out with a movie with our good friend, longtime friend, and former member of our acting class, actually current member of our acting class, Adam Azar White. For being in the
current owner, we're former members.
Yeah, owner. He's the owner GM of the acting class.
Long time texter.
What's that movie called, Nick?
The Way Back.
The Way Back.
Yeah.
Is it? It has the same name as the Ben Affleck movie?
Oh, no, that's not it.
The Old Way Back. It's something about the back.
The Old Way.
So the Old Way. Speaking of the Way Back, the Old Way, I feel like if you go way back to like 8 shows ago, we were talking about the Carlos Correa signing. So let's go to the Bleav in Queens guys. Wrecker, Serralo, Ward, talking about the Carlos Correa signing pending over there in Queens. Check it out.
And so to me, that's where the shock is. It's okay. Like everything I knew about baseball, the business of baseball, and how to do things in a sustainable way it doesn't matter anymore. Not with him, because he doesn't care. He's just going to spend the money and deal with the consequences later, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know how it'll play out. I guess for me, the one thing I'll say is hopefully this ends in a championship sooner than later, because the longer this could possibly go without one, it's going to be really weird to see what happens if they don't win it this year. Like it really is. How much is he going to spend next year?
I mean, the Bleav in Astros guys that tease it, the Jeff Blum, Jeff Balke, we'll get into them in a hot second talking about it. But for me, this is such a peculiar signing at this point. The Giants were spooked. The Mets are now spooked. I mean, we were spooked from the jump in the offseason. Clearly, the teams last year were spooked. I mean, he was a free agent last year. He was only able to pull out a 3-year, $100 million deal with the Twins. Who, by the way, have been silent. Yeah, what are you going to pull out?
I'm going to pull out an old segment. I told you so, because I told you so. I knew that there were health concerns with Carlos Correa because the Astros would have done everything they could to re-sign him initially.
Yeah, but we all knew that. We all were on that, were we not?
I mean, I think that we were all in agreement about it, but I feel like the rest of the world doesn't know that. I feel like we've heard it before and we've said it before, but there's so many people that wanted to lock him up for 10 years. I saw people on Padres Twitter like, let's give him 10 years, $300 million. Come on, we can do it. Like we can have Tatis, Machado, and him. And no.
So what's the deal here, though? Like, because he played a relatively healthy season last year, and he was productive with the Twins. So why can't someone just come to an agreement where it's less years? You don't have to pay him for the next 10.
I don't think he wants that. I think he wants to be locked up for a long time.
Well, he's not going to get signed if that's the case.
Well, he's gotten signed twice already.
I know, and then but until the dotted line is crossed and he is donning that jersey and swinging for them on opening day, it's not a done deal, right? Like there's still something that's keeping them from doing this, keeping them from locking this in.
I want to quickly cut to the Jeffs.
But I also think can we just say that it's kind of funny that like the Mets, I just like that the Mets are in this position where they're like putting together this super team, but like maybe it's not going to have all the pieces they thought.
Yeah. And really quickly on that, like you can't buy your way through baseball. You just can't. Like I refuse to think that you can. Show me a time where like a team has really bought their way without like leaning on the homegrown talent, like leaning on it heavily and won. I just want to throw that out there. I mean, the Astros.
Hopefully this year the Padres.
I mean, but yeah, I guess hopefully. I mean, they were projected number 2 on ESPN and projected wins. All right, let's go to the Jeffs because they talk about Correa as a person. Check it out.
That being said, you go into these negotiations, and I've actually had this does happen on contracts, no matter what the size is. You go in, you negotiate. We want you. I want to be there. Let's get a number. Let's get a year, and as soon as we agree on that number, all of a sudden we're going to open up the books and see what you've been dealing with, because this will be the first contract with this particular team, whether it be the Giants or the Mets. and they open up the books. There is I know for me, seriously, and I know it's all changed because we've all gone digital, but I know for a fact, and I know if you're watching this on YouTube, this is no lie on how thick my book was on my medicals. So when you roll in and you go, here are my medicals, they're literally opening a file that's got to be 2-3 inches thick, depending on how long you've played in the game. It'll have every cortisone injection. It'll have every visit you've had with the team doctor. It'll have every time you had a flu pill or a Z-Pack given to you. So they go through those medicals and they evaluate it and they say, we are willing to take this risk and take this contract and we will sign you. Something. We don't know what, and I'm curious if we ever will know. But something came out in that contract came out in that medical file with Carlos Correa, with the Giants, where they said, yeah, we're not going to pay you the 13 years. We're going to back off a little bit and renegotiate this. And Carlos said, you know what? I got a better deal over here. I'm going to go. But that's basically how it goes down. I'm just curious on your thoughts because there's a little bit of ego involved in this with Carlos. And the fact that he took a little bit less pay per year to go to New York and get paid less than Francisco Lindor and move to third base, I am fascinated on this entire process because I know that Carlos liked the idea of being paid a little bit more than Francisco Lindor, and he liked the idea of being the shortstop.
What's really interesting in this clip for me is that they ponder how peculiar it is that Correa was willing to take the money, less money than Lindor, and move from short to third. And that shows that he just wants the money. He doesn't care about position. He doesn't care about where he plays. He just wants, like we were saying at the top of the segment, he wants that 10 years. He wants to be locked up because I think he knows his body. And I think at this point, the rest of the league knows the body that we're working with and the health concerns, that he wants to take as much security as possible. Like, well, look, where were the Astros last year? Where are the Twins this year? Like if he was so productive and so good for a Minnesota ball club that thinks they can't compete and probably should be able to compete in the AL Central, like why are they not the ones signing him to at least a 7-year deal? Like, where's that at? Like they were only able to pull a 3-year with an opt-out for him last year. So the whole thing is very peculiar to me. If I'm the Mets, like I'm balking at this. This is a balk moment. Like I go back and like.
So you let him walk again, and then he'd have to be a free agent once again.
Once again, yeah. If I'm the Mets, you've done it enough. You have stuff in the farm, and I don't do this.
Well, hypothetically, let's say that happens. Mm-hmm. Then what? Who's he going to sign with? What's the contract going to look like?
I think no one wants to give him more than. Would you give him down the line really quickly because we got to go to the next segment? Nick, would you give him more than 5 years?
I would not personally. No.
Toss?
No.
Here's the thing: if you're him, just really quickly bet on yourself. Like. Keep on doing these 3-year to opt-out deals. And if you continue to, hit well, then you're going to get your money.
Oh, yeah. Like go back to Minnesota for the 3-year deal with an opt-out or a 2-year deal with an opt-out. Hit well, or go to Baltimore with an opt-out, right, where you can maybe contend a little bit.
Go to any of these places with an opt-out. I'm sure the Mets are fine with that. I'm sure the Giants are fine with that.
Yeah.
I think the Giants think the ship sailed, but whatever.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Carlos Correa. I'm sure we will talk about it next show, but we'll see you guys next segment. Do not go anywhere. Charity Stripe, Best of Bleav, right here on Stadium.
Hang tight. We'll be right back in just a second with some more great Bleav content on Stadium.